For Helen Sharkey, the journey back to joyful living has been long and difficult, but she is there. Her story is one of redemption.
I want people to see me as the person I am, which is not perfect, that I've made mistakes, but that I'm trying to right it now.
It is a cautionary tale which demands a return to turbulent times.
I'm a realist, and I know where we are right now. I know what we need, and I know what the alternatives are.
November 2001. Its share price in freefall, Energy Goliath Enron humbly offers itself for sale. There is only one taker, Chuck Watson of rival Dynegy. Having labored in Enron's shadow, the temptation is overwhelming, and Watson pulls the trigger on a multi-billion-dollar takeover.
And you know, we looked under the hood and guess what? It's just as strong as we thought it was.
Watson couldn't have been more wrong. The deal would collapse as layer upon layer of Enron fraud came to light. In the dragnet that followed, Dynegy too is accused of Enron-like financial sleight of hand.
This is about a group of clever people that attempted through deception to convince others that loans were actually operational income, that red ink was actually black.
Among those so-called clever people was 29-year-old Helen Sharkey.
It was devastating. I didn't cope with it. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat.
Having graduated just 7 years before and the most junior member of a Dynegy deal team, Sharkey had propelled her accounting career with hard work and strict adherence to the letter of the law. Then came Project Alpha and the pressure to bend rules to the breaking point.
The typical line that we got from the bank was, "Your friends down the street." And they were referring to Enron. Well, they're doing this, and why can't you guys do this?
They ultimately did. And in 2003, Helen Sharkey paid a steep price, pleading guilty to securities fraud.
This sweet little elderly lady who, I mean, she was amazing. She was like in her 90s, walked up to me and was like, "Wow, you see what you get when you're greedy."
Brutal when you consider Helen didn't make a dime beyond her salary off a $300 million deal. While Dynegy's top executives walked away, Sharkey and two others did time. Her 28 days behind bars were served just 10 months after the birth of twin boys.
I missed my child's first steps, one of them.
Stripped of her credentials and branded a criminal, Helen retreated inward.
Feelings of shame for myself, feelings that I had disappointed my father, who passed away before my sentencing. I had to deal with all of that.
In the end, it was the husband and two boys she loves above all else who helped lead Helen to a better place, to the next right thing.
Even though I didn't intend to break the law, what happened out there was wrong. Now as a parent, it's even more important because I'm constantly telling my boys, you need to own your mistake. The first step is to making it right is owning it.
Hiding no longer, Helen has mustered the courage to tell her story in a very public way. The result has been cathartic.
10 plus years after the fact, have made peace with it.
I really felt like poison had drained out of my body. Just the love and support of a group of mostly strangers was so healing. I really can't describe it.
At Texas A&M, to those on the cusp of corporate careers, Helen advises students to listen to their gut, because in her words, that's God talking.
You don't have to be driving the bus. It doesn't have to be your idea. You don't have to be benefiting from something. But if there is unethical behavior and you're a part of it and you don't speak up, you're going to be held accountable. And that's what happened with me.
From student letters that came by the dozen, those words of warning more than hit their mark.
You made me realize just how important it is to stick to what I believe.
I'll be brave. Your courage has inspired me.
Thank you for reminding us that the trials we face can serve a greater purpose.
You are the type of woman and mother I hope to be.
For Helen Sharkey, it's the kind of impact that's delivered peace with the past and the freedom to embrace the future. Greg Groogan, Fox 26 News. After more days in a hospital than she cares to remember, the smile on Rebecca Gregory's face is one of liberation and relief. You see, for the first time in a long time, she's headed home. This story, her story, begins with a moment all Americans share. That terrible moment in Boston. Among the many driven to the pavement by explosive blast and deadly shrapnel, a young mother from Katy, Texas, and her 5-year-old boy.
I was less than 10 feet away from the bomb.
The joy of Rebecca Gregory's birthday journey east, ripped away by mass bloodshed and the worst kind of fear.
And I was laying on the ground, and all I could hear was, "Mama, Mommy, Mommy, Mommy," and I didn't know where it was coming from.
It was her boy Noah, and amid the chaos, Rebecca couldn't reach him because her own body was torn apart by nails and ball bearings that would have hit her son had she not served as his human shield.
My leg, I looked down at it and it was gone. I couldn't see it. You know, I saw bones and blood. I couldn't see my foot at that time, and it was just hanging there, and my hand was hanging there. I thought I was gonna die. I thought that was it for me. I laid down and I said, "Lord, if this is my time, then take me, but let me know that my son is okay."
And he was. Save for 2 lacerations and a memory no amount of time is likely to erase.
My mom was laying right next to me and blood was coming out of her.
At Boston's Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, doctors and nurses fought furiously to keep viable Rebecca's torn and shattered limb, by their own admission, among the most horrendous injuries they'd ever seen.
It was like I was one of their own, you know, and they were amazing.
At her side within hours of the blast, a mother delivering powerful doses of faith and comfort through each of the difficult days that followed.
I've told her this over and over. She is the strongest, bravest young woman I know. She truly is. All those days filled with pain, all the days where we didn't know if she was going to have a leg today or tomorrow.
Best of all, better than any medicine, words of assurance from the boy her body saved.
He just said, "Mommy, we're going to be okay." I said, "Yeah, Noah, we are going to be okay."
56 days after 2 men she'll never know tried to take her life, Rebecca Gregory returned home safe, if not completely sound. Despite unceasing pain, despite the uncertainty of what the future holds, her faith has left her free of bitterness.
I've experienced a lot of emotions, but anger and hate have never been in my heart.
To know Rebecca's parents is to understand why.
God has a bigger plan. We'll wait anxiously and see what that is.
I think we still have to get up every day, and I think we still have to look for the good in people.
And for this Texas family, the very definition of goodness will always include a roadmap to Massachusetts and the across-the-board kindness and care they received there.
We have seen the hearts and souls of the people of Boston, and we truly did.
We had nurses fighting to take care of our daughter.
And I honestly will consider them my family and my saving grace for the rest of my life, because they saved my life.
A life Rebecca intends to lead with vigor and love, be it with 1 leg or 2.
Right now, I have a leg. Tomorrow I may not, but today I'm gonna fight like hell for it.
What do we call that?
I call it a swordfish.
It's a swordfish? It's pretty cool. Does it hurt anymore?
No.
And while some wounds will always heal more slowly than others, in this house there's an abiding resolve that no critical injury or threat of violence can likely break.
we're all planning to go to the marathon next year.
You see, the Gregory's figure they have two homes now, and a big responsibility to live Texas proud and Boston strong. In Katy, Greg Groogan, Fox 26 News. In their movements, there is a respectful, almost hallowed tone. This work demands it.
Antonio R. Sandoval, San Antonio, Texas.
Grade by time, they too were soldiers once, Marines. 40-odd years after the wartime service, their mission continues in a house near Bastrop.
Donald J. Matoka, Smithfield, Texas.
From the hands of James Hart and Don Dorsey come near exact replications of dog tags worn by Texans who did not return from Vietnam. The lost.
I'm visiting each guy. You know, I'm saying hello and, you know, hey, I'm sorry you're gone, but, you know, you're remembered. This is personal. With each letter, you know, we're memorializing Texas veterans that were killed.
3,417 sons and daughters of the Lone Star State.
That's our job as veterans, is to remember them well.
Side by side they hang, a brilliant and very intimate representation of sacrifice. Together they form the Vietnam Heroes Memorial Exhibit, set for dedication at Austin's Lyndon Baines Johnson Presidential Library. Hockley's Wayne Ulrich will be there.
There was many of us that came home from Vietnam that kind of went in the closet for 20 years. I know I did, but I'm out of there now.
An Army dust-off crew member aboard medical evacuation helicopters, Ulrich is beyond certain that among the tags are names of those whose bodies he helped lift from the battlefield. On Sunday, he will solemnly read 30 names of fallen fellow Texans, those who offered what Lincoln called the last true measure.
But their lives are in my memory. They're a part of me. They won't go away.
On Monday, March 25th, at the Texas Capitol, ground will be broken for a permanent memorial, 50 years after the first life was lost.
Chester M. Ogden,